I'm smiling, can you tell?
We left off last time in the town of Stykkishólmur, hoping to board a ferry that would take us to the remote northwest region of Iceland called the Westfjords. There were no tour buses or brightly colored camper vans. I took this as a sign that we were getting off the typical tourist route and into a more remote region of the country. That makes it the very most western point in Europe.
It's good that it went as well as it could under the circumstances.
Yeah. That is actually a miracle that they managed to get them all alive.
After a couple weeks on the road, we were starting to find our stride. This exotic land was starting to feel less alien and more at home. We knew how to navigate, fuel up, and find camp. Our routines around camp were becoming just that, routine. Earlier in the week, we made our way to the center of activity in the Westfjords, a bustling little port town called Elusive. There, we hired a guide to take us on a day-long kayaking trip. We showed up early in the morning and got outfitted with the gear that we needed, and after a short drive, we put into the water.
Here I am doing none of the work, letting Dane paddle for me. But we do have this amazing crew.
We watched a number of brightly colored jellyfish float peacefully right beneath our boat.
Is it what we see in the horizon there? It was purple. What would that be? That's not orange on the ocean.
The waters were calm and the experience was therapeutic. The fjord was completely silent except for the sound of paddles dipping into the water. A few ducks and seabirds squawked as we drifted past their shores. Our kayak excursion was one of the most tranquil experiences I've ever had. I love how you sit right on top of the water in a kayak. It gives a unique perspective of your surroundings, and I think that's part of the allure. As mentioned before, we had made our way north from Latravik to Isjafjörður. With the success of our day kayaking, we were eager to return to the water and track down a ferry that would take us to the Hornstrandir Nature Reserve. The tour company's website was down when we tried to book the ferry the day before. We showed up early to their physical office to see if we could still make arrangements. They had a ferry going out that we could join, but with two caveats. It was leaving right now, and the return trip wouldn't happen for 8 hours, given their reduced schedule during the pandemic. We hadn't prepared for a full-day excursion, but decided to hop on anyhow.
So we just hopped on a boat to Hornstrandir.
It was really warm when we got here.
Yeah, it's like we arrived at the Arctic Circle, and it's like 80 degrees here, so not what I was expecting. Sweater is not being put to efficient use. So now we've just got to survive until 4 o'clock when the boat comes to pick us up. It's going to be like a Bear Grylls episode up here.
Yeah. I don't know if we packed enough food and water.
Oh yeah. And on the way up here we saw, must have been a few whales, just these huge creatures. They're kind of just hanging out at the surface for a while. And we're checking them out with the binoculars, taking some pictures. And then just kind of out of nowhere they started breeching. Just these huge creatures just all the way out of the water. The sound of them like slapping down was just tremendous, so I was just blown away. It was one of the most intense nature experiences I've had.
Yeah, and it was incredible because they were just so close to the boat that we were on too, so.
Yeah, we're just kind of on our way and somebody pointed off to the left, the boat swerved, and we stopped shortly thereafter, just right by these huge animals. It was really cool. Sit rep, it's 12:44. Still have not perished. The sun has been behind clouds more, and the breeze has picked up, so temperatures are better. It's 1:42, still alive. Across some snow patches. Then there's this lovely valley that we came to. You see the ocean poking through some of the fjords. Tried to make it to that cliffside, but I think it's just out of reach for us today. We're gonna make our boat back. But pretty wild out here.
I'm pretty happy with what we did today and everything that we saw. It was way better than I imagined when we got off that boat. There was no instruction of where to go, and it was just free for all of wherever you go is your path today. I think we did a really good job finding some things. Gotta watch where I'm going.
Oh yeah?
Eat it.
On this epic glacier crossing.
And yet it still feels like it's 80 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Amanda caught a flicker in the distance that we thought could be an Arctic fox. The battery in the big camera died, but Amanda was still able to get this footage on her phone.
We made it back to the dock. Found some shade. So now we just wait for the boat.
And I'm still trying to figure out how the boat's gonna come up to the shore now that the tide has gone out. It'll be interesting to see.
This wasn't the first rodeo for this ferry. With the tide all the way out, they sent a rubber dinghy to shuttle visitors back to the main boat. With minimal preparation and supplies, we had survived our day in Hornstrandir and returned to Isjöfjord there.
Sit rep. We made it back to the mainland. I found a brewery. And there should be food soon.
Yeah.
We've survived.
Barely.
While our glimpse of a wild Arctic fox was short and from afar, we had a chance to view a pup up close at the Arctic Fox Center on the edge of town. The center aims to educate visitors about Iceland's only native mammal, including its relationship with humans and ongoing research efforts. The Arctic fox population in Iceland is stable, but other populations are struggling after centuries of hunting, habitat loss to the red fox, and the introduction of parasites. This pup was rescued by the center, and visitors can now connect intimately and enjoy an Arctic fox up close.
So we're about to do the most dangerous road in Iceland. I just call it the 622 road, but it goes out on a point and it's like cut into the cliffside, so you've got really just the width of one car. So if you open the door, like there's just a drop off out there, and there's no services or anything, and there's the end part of it can only be done during low tides. You could be stuck out on this peninsula for a while. So yeah, that's what our day is going to be.
I'm mentally preparing myself right now because these are not my favorite type of roads. So we'll see how that goes.
There should be good scenery too, so
Yeah.
that's why we're doing it.
The road started off easy enough as a well-maintained dirt road with beautiful vistas out into the fjord.
This is what they were talking about. It's not as scary as I was imagining. We've been on worse roads than this.
Yeah, so
The road slowly became narrower, and the drop to the right became steeper. The road is one way, so once you've gotten to this point, there's no turning back.
the road's gotten a little narrower.
Eventually we came to a section with a sheer vertical cliff rising to the left, and a soft-looking ledge on the right, with hundreds of feet of freefall just beyond. The cliffside has several small waterfalls, making the road surface a slick and undulating mud track with sloppy puddles. I ran the Forerunner in low range and kept my focus on the road ahead. Most vehicles should have no problem with this section, as long as the driver is able to keep their cool. With the scariest section behind us, we found a spot to stop for lunch. We just finished what was supposed to be the super scary part of the road, and we're running like an hour ahead of schedule at least, so we decided to stop for some lunch. What are we having for lunch?
Cup of noodles.
Yeah, we got these like Korean cup of noodles that you drain the water and add this sauce to, so it's like it's more like noodles than soup. We've got the lighthouse as our backdrop for lunch. Yeah, feeling pretty relieved that that road was so easy. Maybe almost a little disappointed that it wasn't harder. Amanda, how was the Korean cup of noodles?
I didn't even put in all the sauce, and it is real spicy. Look how much sauce is still left in there. Can't do it. I'm gonna eat some cheese and crackers. I think the cheese makes the burning go away.
Oh, is that cheese?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything with milk in it.
Yeah, so I put the whole packet of spice into mine, and it's pretty brutal. The package here has little flames on it and like exclamation points, like clearly indicating that this is spicy stuff. And so I think this one's not going to get eaten. This one has the whole packet in it, so I'm going to eat Amanda's and it should survive. With spicy noodles in our bellies, we headed out to tackle the southern half of the 622 road. We had timed our day so we'd be arriving at the southern section as the tide was approaching its low point for the day. After skirting around some beautiful dells at the base of sheer vertical cliffs, we were soon descending a steep decline onto the rocky beach of the southern section. We found the tide well away from the track, and our tires wouldn't even get wet this go-around. With the 622 road behind us, we backtracked to the north to continue our lap of Iceland. As we made our way back to the fjord where we had kayaked, we drove past a little-known landmark with special and magical significance.
So you can see this big rock just barely off the side of the road. So the story with that rock is that when they were building this road, the rock was exactly where they wanted the road to be. And every time they brought a piece of equipment to move the rock, they brought first a bulldozer, tried to move the rock. Just as they were about to push the huge rock, the bulldozer broke down. They had to call in for another piece of equipment. So then they brought in a second bulldozer, a brand new one this time. And as they was about to, push the rock out of the way, the brand new bulldozer broke down. So then, as they were making their third attempt, they brought in a crane to hoist it out of the way. Someone contacted the elves and asked for permission to move the rock. Well, I guess they specifically said, can we move the rock just a little bit out of the way so that we can build a road? And on the third try, they were able to move the big rock out of the way. This is all coming from our kayaking guide, who I know is a very strict authority on these kinds of matters.
The road weaved in and out of long fjords until we finally pulled over to prep some dinner before continuing on our way to find camp. What's for dinner tonight?
We are having smoked ham and penne pasta.
We can do a little bit of a truck tour here while Amanda's making dinner. Let's see, we'll start over there. You can see the inReach mounted on the A-pillar. We've got the overlander here. Got a Icelandic map for $20 that's been awesome. Has all the towns, all the gas stations. Makes it easy to find things even when you have no cell phone signal. And speaking of cell phones, There's my phone. We've been listening to Journey to the Center of the Earth on that, as narrated by Tim Curry. So this is where Amanda's spending most of her time, in the passenger seat. We've got both of our headlamps up there. I haven't used them a whole lot either, because it's light all the time, but it can be good for, looking under the car or digging through luggage. Let's see, down here I've got a Magpul glasses case. Here's the Warren winch, wireless controller, got the first aid kit, ibuprofen, band-aids. Here's more tools for the Leatherman, some mechanics gloves. We've started using mechanics gloves a bunch. We found that when you're camping, your hands tend to get beat up from setting up tents, chopping firewood, or breaking sticks and stuff. So we just started wearing gloves, just something thin to try to keep our hands not getting mangled up over the course of the trip. And then over here, let's see, so this is all the stakes and ropes for our awning. Further in the back seat, right now we've got a line up drying some clothes, try to do some laundry, keep things fresh. I've got my Tom bin bag here. It's really easy to flip shut, carries like a briefcase or like a backpack, so it's been great for hopping from the airport to the hotels. But here in the truck, kind of unzip it, everything stays really organized. It's kind of like a filing system here where you've got stuff sacks, and you can kind of just dig through them and everything stays organized in their files. And I know that the blue bag is my nice weather clothes. Got this gray one over here for colder weather, so that's like all of my long underwear and stuff. And then I keep my hard shells rain gear in this green bag, so I know exactly where everything is. I can pull it out in an instant. And then I've got the clean clothes side of things and the dirty clothes side of things, so it's really easy to stuff them in there and be back on your way. Let's see, we've been using these alpaca bags. Anything I need to go up into the tent. In here. Usually keep a jacket stuffed back here, some camp shoes stuffed back here, and then at the very bottom are our cold weather parkas. So if it gets really cold, we're thinking maybe the highlands it'll get down to the 30s. We'll have those big parkas that we can toss on and be warm no matter what. And then in this Western Mountaineering cotton bag. So we put our sleeping bags in this in the morning, then we just toss that in between our Tom bin bags, and that makes it just easier to shut the Go Fast camper. And around back, we've got the fridge, the drawer system, all of our cooking stuff. Nothing too new there. We keep our pillows in this red bin, and then some miscellaneous odds and ends. That's about it. That's about all the exciting stuff for the truck for now.
The Westfjords were a special place for us. It brought us the solitude and inner peace we were looking for, and gave us wildlife encounters beyond belief. But we had to keep moving and find out what else Iceland had in store for us.